And good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to BMO Bank of Montreal's virtual career fair, presented in partnership with Our Children's Medicine. I am Josh Hellier. I am the president of Our Children's Medicine, and I am delighted that you're all attending our event today. It's truly going to be a wonderful 90 minutes, so I'm really thrilled everybody's here. We're going to get started in just a moment with Kelly Hashimi, who will be doing a traditional welcome. We'll also be presenting 4 workshops throughout our session today, and 1 pre-recorded video of Indigenous employee voices at BMO. So just a quick note that your one-on-one interviews start at 12:05, so be sure to join your queue at the appropriate time, and you will see it underneath this video, all of the different room numbers, so please find your room number and join your queue when your interview is scheduled. And during these workshops and sessions, if you have any questions at all for our presenters, feel free to ask them in the chat function, which is at the bottom of the page you're currently on, and we will make sure that the presenters see the questions and answer them. We also have some individuals from BMO, as well as Our Children's Medicine in the chat function monitoring the conversation, and we'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have. So as I said, we are delighted to have you here today, and I'm now going to pass it over to Kelly Hashimi, who is going to do our traditional welcome. Over to you, Kelly.
Ani, good morning, everyone. Welcome, everyone, from all corners of the northern part of Turtle Island. That's the exciting part, is like everybody's coming from all different places. So I'm going to do a little introduction of myself, and then I thought we can have a virtual smudge. I know that, the world has changed a lot during these times. So I do have the white sage here for us. My spirit name is Blue Thunderbird Woman, and I'm from the Bear Clan, originally from Treaty 1 territory in Manitoba. We offer our prayers, tobacco, and our hearts. Thank you for the grandfathers and grandmothers of yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Thank you, spirits of the wind, earth, air, and fire. And thank you to the spirits north, east, west, and south. And be with us as we try and continue the soft walk of living a good life. It's a little hard smudging sitting down. But it's important to remember that we bring our smoke to our mouth to remember to, speak the truth and speak kind. And really important today because we're not sitting face to face in person, but we're virtually with each other to really pay attention to what people are trying to say and trying to communicate. And to remember to bring the smoke over our minds, to remember to think good thoughts, to see the beauty in everyone and everything, to act lovingly, and to walk softly and walk in a good way. Chimigwech, everyone. Good luck, candidates, and welcome all our BMO recruiters. This is going to be an amazing day for all of you. Miigwech.
30 years ago, BMO started its own Indigenous banking unit. My community, Batchewana First Nation, has been a client of BMO for many years. It's been a strong and competitive relationship and allowed us to do many great things that I've seen firsthand. It has allowed us to build on-reserve hiring programs that allows Indigenous people to work in their community and grow their career within their community. The experience has been a true partnership, and I haven't seen how this symbiotic relationship has had true positive effects firsthand in my community. The Indigenous ERG at BMO is called the Sharing Circle. The symbol that we have is a circle, and the colors represent all the provinces of Canada. The Sharing Circle is your new BMO family when you start at BMO. They're going to be a place where you can go ask penalty-free questions, source out leaders that you want to mentor with, find people that have the same challenges that you have, common lived experiences. This is the things you'll find in the Indigenous ERG, the Sharing Circle.
So BMO feels that they're part of the community and that they give back to the community. And I really like that. My name is Lyndon Blackwood, and I'm a senior technology analyst at BMO. When I was growing up, the community helped me. As soon as I joined BMO, I learned about all kinds of opportunities that BMO supported in terms of volunteering in order to give back to the community. I'm involved with an Indigenous resource group, and what we do is we get together and support each other, and it just makes a better team.
Welcome everyone. Today we'll begin with a 10-minute segment where we'll share some videos featuring Indigenous employee stories and some pre-recorded messages from panelists who will speak about their careers and personal journey. Our panelists are available for a little while to answer your questions. Please use the chat function. Thank you.
I came to BMO as a branch manager in Brooks, Alberta, just over 8 years ago. Since then, I've had the opportunity to transfer to the Medicine Hat Business and Ag team as a relationship manager, then back into retail in my current role as branch manager for Medicine Hat Maine. One of the things that originally attracted and continues to impress me about BMO is having been a single mother of 5 when I came here, I was able to grow my career, expand my knowledge through our world-class Institute for Learning while being able to maintain a healthy balance between work and my family responsibilities.
Why BMO? Well, I've had a wonderful career with BMO. It's been a very long career, and I try to recount the number of roles I've had. I've lost count. I started sorting mail. I worked in the call center for many, many years, taking customer calls. I worked in human resources. I worked in a project management role. I actually was a trainer. Then I started managing the training role. So quite a diverse role of opportunities, as you can see. And I've learned so much, and every role has propelled me forward. And needless to say, the opportunities it gave me really helped me grow my career. And I'm thankful for BMO for investing in this learning for me.
Well, a few years ago, my manager selected me to participate in the National Indigenous Banking Conference in Cranbrook, British Columbia. It was here where my eyes were open to not only my own culture and heritage, but to all the good the Indigenous Banking Unit does across Canada and all the different communities. A recent example of giving back is when my deal team and I prospected the Manitoba Métis Federation to Bank of Montreal. Through our efforts, we ended up selling our branch to the Métis Federation, where they will house a national Métis museum at the iconic Portage in Maine, where the Métis people walk so proudly. While they supported me while I was in university, now that I'm in my career, I'm able to give back and support the Manitoba Métis Federation in all of their new journeys.
Since joining BMO 13 years ago, I've worked as a financial planner, regional director of planning for BC, a private wealth consultant, and most recently as the VP of Indigenous Trust Services for Western Canada. Throughout all these years, I've been encouraged and supported in my roles. I'm a member of the Tahltan First Nation and believe in making the world a better place for my children and my community. Giving back to my community is something I'm passionate about, and BMO supported me in many ways to help me make a difference. One example happened last Christmas. I was sitting on the PAC for my daughter's high school, and the principal asked if any of the PAC members would be willing to support a local needy family. I put up my hand to sponsor a single mom with 5 kids, all under the age of 16, living at home. When my colleagues at Private Bank found out what I was doing, they volunteered to help. They set up a box to collect gifts, toys, and food for the family. Within 1 week, they donated a table full of food, including amazing chocolates and an entire Christmas dinner. There was gift cards for over $100 per child, as well as a full stocking and age-appropriate gifts, not just for the kids, but for the mom too. The generosity filled my entire car as I brought it to the school, and the school counselor teared up when describing the response from the family when it got dropped off.
Hiawatha First Nation is a really small community of about 300 people living on reserve. That's just a community just south of Peterborough. We're Ojibwe, and I lived there my whole life before moving off to university at Queen's. My recruitment process with BMO started with an Inspire scholarship in my first year. I learned that it was a recruitment pipeline for Indigenous talent. And so they introduced me to several investment banking professionals. And so I did an internship in diversified industries, followed by a subsequent summer in equity capital markets, and then ultimately secured a full-time position back in the diversified industries group. And I found that it was just a very good fit for me culturally, and the team has just been very supportive along the way.
We have a fantastic culture here at BMO. Very open, very sharing. That's sort of the way that Kristen and I have a mentor-mentee relationship. We've definitely brought our real selves to the conversation, and I think that's why we hit it off. My name is Suzanne, and I'm Senior Manager Customer Experience at BMO. Kristen and I have something in common. We're both Indigenous. We are both First Nations.
We definitely did connect on a personal level, which is exactly what you need when you're looking for a mentor. She was there to help, and I was there to be guided.
Each of us is stronger for having shared who we really are.
I love it. Thank you so much to Kelly for doing our traditional welcome today. And thank you to everybody who participated in the video. It was really very inspirational. We loved it. So thank you so much. Just a note to some of the job seekers who are paying attention and watching this video, we are having a couple of technical difficulties with some rooms. So don't worry, they will be online very soon. Just I appreciate your patience. People will be on in mere moments. So we are going to take a very tiny quick break. And when we come back, we are going to start with our very first workshop, which is Grow Your Network with Jennifer Reese. So don't go anywhere, job seekers. Again, thank you so much for your patience. All of the rooms will be online shortly. We will be back. Don't go anywhere. It occurred to me that I was muted, so I apologize. So what I was saying was we are actually going to skip ahead right now to workshop number 2 with Mary Edward, transferable skills. So we're going to bring her in right now. Here we go, Mary.
And hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be with you today, and thanks very much for letting me to be a part of this fantastic event. If you may start. Perfect. So my name is Mary Edward, and I am part of the talent acquisition team here in BMO. And there you go. I think Josh put the slide for hello, everyone, and welcome with different languages to all of you. If you may, Josh, would like to push to the next slide, please. Thank you. So today in this session, you will develop an understanding of how your existing skills could be valued and leveraged to prospective employers to be convinced that you are the right person for the job. So what are transferable skills and how we can use them in our interview, and where exactly we need to highlight these skills in our resume? Let's see. Next slide, please, Josh. So transferable skills are the skills and abilities that you already have that could be valued to prospective employers. The good news is that you already have most of these skills, if not all of them. You've developed such skills from your daily lived experiences, whether it was at school or at home or within your community. What I want to highlight here is the lack of direct experience is not necessarily a barrier. So if you are changing career or just recently graduated, or even this is your first time to look for a job, guess what? Employers are looking for you. Next slide, please, Josh. Thank you. So what are the skills that you already have in your pocket that are actually required and looked for by employers? Employers are often looking for strong communication skills. So basically, what's that? It's basically employers are looking for individuals with strong oral communication skills. Think about the time when you communicate with a variety of people. Are you polite and humble? Are you kind? Do you initiate helping others before thinking about yourself? What about critical thinking? I think we have this in next slide, Josh. No, I think the rest of the skills, I'll just go through them. That's fine within this slide. Thank you. So critical thinking, it is basically your ability to solve problems. So do you ever face problems that you were able to solve for either yourself or one of your friends or someone within your family? Certainly, I think we all do. So what is learner mindset? Are you curious? Are you willing to learn new things? Empathy. Do you try to put yourself in other people's shoes before thinking about you? Resilience. Are you able to manage the pressures and demands of your daily life? Adaptability. Are you flexible? Do you cope well with the change? Technology literacy. Are you confident using a computer? And even if not, are you willing to learn how to? If your answer was a yes to these questions, guess what? You have the skills that employers are looking for. Next slide, please. So by now, we know you have these transferable skills, which is fantastic. Now let us see where we can highlight these skills in our resume. They could be in 3 sections. It's either the summary or objective, which normally is in the beginning of the resume, or they could be part of the employment history description or at the skills section. I know that I think Tiffany is preparing a fantastic presentation about this, and she will take a deeper dive into the resume writing. So I'm definitely looking forward as well to hear that. Perfect. Now, during the interview, how could be ready to interviewer questions asking us how we can highlight these transferable skills that we already have. Let me share a couple of examples with you. If you are a grandfather or a grandmother within your community, this is so great, as it shows a great deal of leadership and responsibility. For sure, I would encourage everyone to highlight that and share that in the interview. Or if you are part of setting up events within your community, like powwow, this is fantastic because it shows that you are a great team player and you can collaborate well, which is amazing. And this is what employers are looking for. I really hope that this was on like kind of light on you and it will help you in your upcoming interviews. And definitely, if time allows, Josh, I'm more than happy to answer any questions. Thank you so much for listening.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Mary. We don't have any questions coming through at the moment, but that was terrific. I really appreciate you jumping in also a little bit earlier than we had originally planned. I appreciate it. I also really appreciate that you highlighted, powwow as being something worth talking about during your interviews, talking about on your resume and those sorts of things, because it's so important for people to be able to show off the roles they have within their culture and community, because it says so much about who you are.
Certainly, Josh.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Mary. I appreciate it. If we get any questions, we will send them over to you. Good luck with your interviews this afternoon. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you. Alrighty, everybody, we are going to take another quick break. And then when we come back, hopefully we're going to go into workshop number 1, which was Grow Your Network, which is now going to be workshop number 2 with Jennifer Reese, but we might move ahead also depending on our technical issues. Thank you, everybody, for your patience and participating today. We will be back shortly. Don't go anywhere. All righty, welcome back, everyone. So we are going to go on to our next workshop, which is resume review and feedback with Tracy Lutz. So I'm going to bring Tracy in right now. Hi, Tracy.
Hi there. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Good. All right. I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right. Perfect.
Okay.
Hi, everyone, and thank you so much for joining. My name is Tracy Lutz, and I am a senior campus recruiter with BMO's Personal and Business Banking Group. And you'll just excuse me as I go through. I have the presentation or this live stream up on one screen, and I have some notes over on another screen, so I'm going to be switching back and forth. And so just bear with me as we go through here today. My presentation today is the recruiter wish list, and I'm going to share some tips with you on what recruiters wish candidates knew when it comes to creating a resume that stands out. So we'll go over to the next slide. All right, perfect. So how long do you think a recruiter spends on the initial screen of a resume? Is it 30 seconds? Is it a minute? Is it 2 or more minutes? In a 2018 eye tracking study, Ladders Inc., and Ladders is a big US job board, they revealed that the time recruiters spend on an initial screen of a resume is 7.4 seconds. That, the good news in this, is up from an average of only 6 seconds in 2012, but only by about a second. In my experience, that's a bit quick. I find a resume review of 7.4 seconds when I think about all of the resumes that I'm reviewing on a daily basis. I think that's a little bit quick. But when a recruiter has a large number of resumes to review for a role, they're typically scanning resumes quickly. They're looking for a candidate's knowledge, skills, abilities, and experience related to the job description and requirements that they're recruiting for. If they don't see what they're looking for in about 15 to 30 seconds, they're going to move on to the next resume. And this is where your mission comes in. It's your mission to grab their attention and not let them do that. Your resume is not going to get you the job, but it is going to get you noticed. It's your marketing tool. And so here are some of my top tips, and these are some of my personal favorites. First, tailor your resume every time. Your resume is never final. Depending on the industry or role you're applying to, you will want to spotlight your key knowledge, skills, ability, and experience reflected in the job description. Think about it this way. Your resume is probably perfectly tailored to the role that you currently have or your most recent position. If you're hoping to make a change, you need a resume that positions you for the next role. A targeted resume is going to lead to a more successful job application. This doesn't mean you are completely rewriting your resume every time you submit an application by any means. But before hitting submit, this is a great time for reflection and to make some updates. Depending on the role you're applying to, you may want to highlight different facets of the experiences that you've had. The next one is to keep it simple and keep it concise. I see this many times a day. Generally speaking, a great resume is 1 to 2 pages. This gives you enough space to showcase your skills, qualifications, and experiences in an easy-to-read format for the recruiter. Unless you're applying to a role such as a design role, I suggest skipping the fancy graphics, the overly engineered formatting, and illustrations. A clean, simple layout is best. And again, really easy to read for a recruiter. You want to ensure that the visual elements that you include in your resume are not distracting from the actual content that you're sharing. Next one up, don't bury your accomplishments. Your resume is your opportunity to tell your story. It's not just a laundry list of what you've done, but instead what you've actually accomplished through your journey. When sharing your professional experiences, share your responsibilities and accomplishments in, again, easy to read points. Did you know as well that your volunteer experiences and community involvement are accomplishments too and should absolutely be included on a resume? These experiences have shaped you into who you are, the person that you are, as well as likely helped you develop some really transferable skills for any role that you are actively seeking. This is really significant to a recruiter, and we definitely encourage that you share, again, those volunteer experiences or community involvement as part of your resume. Next up, avoid acronyms, cliches, and generic statements. I am guilty myself of using all of these on a regular basis. But when describing your professional, volunteer, or community experiences on your resume, don't just describe the what, but paint a picture of the so what. There's nothing wrong with saying that you're a team player or great at sales. That's something that, if they're true to you, you definitely want to highlight on your profile. But don't just leave it there. Highlight the results and accomplishments that have really made you stand out. I will say that's really easy to do in a role where things can be really easily counted. For example, a sales position. But you can do this even if your experience is not in a number or dollars role. Really, the key thing for you to do is to share what difference did you make and how did you make that contribution. Let's go on over to keywords. Using keywords, and this is something that we see a lot on resumes. Remember that the whole thing about recruiters doing a quick scan of a resume, and I mentioned that at the beginning, that's 7.4 seconds. Again, I think that's a little bit short, but remember how quick that is? Keywords on a resume can really help you get the attention of a recruiter. Make sure that the skills you list on your resume match the requirements for the job that you're applying to. If you're not sure what those are, read the job description carefully to see what skills, programs, and keywords are mentioned. If there's a requirement or responsibility listed in the job description that you've performed in a current or previous role, you definitely want to be highlighting that. That being said, and this is, one thing I think about as you do that and as you're reviewing that job description, as you're reading that job description, don't worry, a successful candidate rarely, if ever, has every requirement listed. When I think about how job descriptions are made, it's often a combination of, what previous individuals have done, and those previous individuals may be very experienced at the role. And so don't worry if you don't have every requirement that's listed on that role. If you believe that you can do the job and are a good match, you should absolutely be putting yourself out there. My final tip is to proofread for mistakes and for typos. Seek input on your resume from those that are around you. I personally like to have a friend or a family member take a quick scan of my resume before submitting it to a role. I may not notice a mistake or a typo, but a fresh set of eyes might. You've probably had that experience before, and if you have, been working a lot on your resume, you know exactly what you think your resume is saying, but having that quick scan or that quick review might uncover something that you're not aware of. This has been a lot of information, and you may be asking yourself where to even start. Whether you already have a resume or are just starting out, one of the things I'm also going to say, and this is sort of my seventh hidden tip to you, is to think about creating a LinkedIn profile. If you're a job seeker, first of all, it's great to have this online presence. Additionally, it is a great way to start as it comes to building your resume. As you create your LinkedIn profile, you are prompted to share different professional experiences you've had, education, volunteer interests, that type of thing. And it is a great way to actually start building your resume if you don't already have a copy. The other sort of hidden trick with that is that you can actually often apply to roles using your LinkedIn profile. And so that is my sort of seventh hidden tip or trick. And we'll just go on to the final slide here. I want to thank you all so much for your time today. I hope that you have found the tips and tricks that I have shared helpful. And hopefully that they've given you something to think about when you're telling your story through your resume. I am wishing you all the best as it comes to your job search activities, and happy to answer any questions because I think we've got probably a minute or two.
We do have a minute or two, and I got to say, I learned one thing that I am really terrible about. I am the king of acronyms. And I think it's the emoji world that we now live in, which is why I'm the king of acronyms. Have you found that people are now shortening their sentences more and more, and there are more acronyms all the time?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I was thinking as I was preparing for this presentation, I was thinking about just in my like day to day, how many resumes I am looking at on a day to day basis, and that is definitely something that I am seeing: the use of acronyms and the use of cliches. And this is again, your resume is such a great opportunity for you to tell your story, and those can often be sort of fluff, or they don't make the impact that you think that they are. And so think about your wording really carefully. And again, that's where family and friends can also be really helpful. It may be something that is so natural to you, but that second set of eyes can point at something that maybe you haven't thought about before.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always good to have a critical second set of eyes. So I do that with everything that I write, and I've written 2 books, and I always have more than one person before it even goes to the editor take another look, because I can be a little cliche driven also.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Which is fine on my dating profiles, but when it comes to applying jobs and other things, less so.
They're very different in terms of what you're looking to get across. So yeah.
Alrighty. Well, perfect, Tracy. That we don't have any questions. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I hope some of those tips and tricks are helpful to job seekers out there.
Worst case, you helped me. So that's a step in the right direction. So thank you, Tracy. Much appreciated. Alrighty, everyone. We're going to take another quick break, and we are going to come back with Tiffany and our next workshop, which is interview skill building. So it's going to be fantastic. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. All righty, welcome back, everybody. So we are going to move on to our next workshop, which is now our third workshop, which is interview skill building with Tiffany. I'm bringing you in, Tiffany. There we go. Over to you.
Hi, Josh. Just give me a thumbs up if my sound's okay.
You're perfect. I can hear you.
Excellent, because we're all having our little tech challenges today. So welcome, everybody. Thank you for taking time to be with me. And I've got a few more tips and tricks to add in the case of how you're going to put this all together and make a fabulous interview. Some of my colleagues helped shared with you some of the skills that you're going to need to talk about, how they're transferable, the resume. And I think you're probably trying to get a feel now of how are these recruiters doing this thing, and how are people hearing me and receiving me when I'm coming in for an interview. So I wanted to share with you a trick that I used over many years. I'm with BMO now, and I'm a recruitment leader in technology and ops. But I spent 14 years of my life helping job seekers find jobs. And I used to say, from Coopers to cosmonauts, I had everything in between in my program, new grads, everyone coming to find a job. And there was a trick that worked for all different kinds of situations. And you probably heard of it. It's called behavioral interviewing. I'm going to break it down today for you this afternoon, give you a real life example, and hopefully we'll have a couple minutes for your questions as well. So let me define it for you. What is behavior-based interviewing? It's basically a technique that employers use to learn about your past behavior in different situations. Why do they do it? Because your past behavior is a great indicator of your future performance. It's probably a better indicator than you saying, well, I might do this and I might do that. If you give me an example of where you've been and what you've done, I'll start to visualize you in that situation, and it will help me understand how you may react to the myriad of situations that you'll have in the role I'm considering you for. So Josh, if you could jump ahead to the cart slide. I want to talk to you about it in one of the most simple terms that I can think of. We're actually just storytelling. That's all this exercise is about. And I'm going to give you a little acronym because we're famous for acronyms at BMO. You'll see them everywhere. So I'm going to call my acronym a CART, a C-A-R-T. And it's a way to break down your example in 4 simple pieces, especially in a scenario where you've not had that exact job before and you need to do a little bit of a tie-in to say, well, I was here, and because I did that here, I'm going to do this there. So I'm going to teach you that as well. So in a cart, you've got 4 pieces. You've got a challenge. Just think of it as a problem that needed solving, a situation that needed fixing or improvement. When I'm teaching, I usually tell people it's a dark and stormy night. Something was going terribly wrong. And that's your challenge. The action is what you did to make things better. There's a dark and stormy night. Things are terrible. You flew in, and this is how things started to look a lot better. That's the action. The results. What happened because you were there? What's the outcome? What's the difference because you showed up? And then I added something onto it called a tie-in, because sometimes you're using those transferable skills and you need to take the situation and tie it into something new. Something that's like, I did this then, and because I did that then, when I get over here, I'm going to do something like this for you. Because no matter what somebody asks you in an interview, all they're saying, they say, did you have a nice day? They said, tell me a bit about yourself. All I'm ever asking you is, why should I hire you? So every time you open your mouth, give me a reason to hire you. Whether it's because you're a great person, you've got some great skills, a good connection to the work, doesn't matter. Give me some reasons to kind of want to connect with you and hire you for the role. So that's a cart. It starts with a dark and stormy night, and it ends with a nice tie-in to the job that you're looking for. So I'm going to take a real BMO job, because what's better than that, to take a look at what I would have done with my class to say, how do you know what kind of cards to write? So on your screen, sorry, I got a tiny little screen because I'm working off my iPhone today. You have an example of a real role that was posted recently at BMO. And it was a role for a customer service representative, First Nations, Métis, Inuit candidates. So it was one of our designated jobs. And there's quite a bit going on in this job ad. And one thing I wanted to tell you, and I think Tracy mentioned it in her talk, is read it carefully. I used to ask people, read it 3 times, not once, not twice, but 3 times, because you will start to feel a theme. What are these folks talking about? So I didn't take the whole job ad for you. I took a little piece of the job ad, and I thought I'd go in there and I'd highlight some things that jumped out to me. Top of the screen, first word, customer. Went down the screen a little more, read a little bit about the job. Customer, again, under identifies customer needs and initiates referrals. Went down a little further, saw advice and guidance, something you do with a customer or when you're dealing with people. Kept going, saw engages customer, kept going to the side, saw serving customer. I'm thinking these guys are on about their customer. I have to find some good ways to talk, some carts, some dark and stormy nights that I fixed that will show them what would it be like when I'm with their customer? How is that service going to feel for somebody? So Josh, can you back up one to the cart for a sec? Okay, so taking a look at this screen, I thought I'm going to write you guys a story and show you kind of how it's done. So, challenge. I was working as a member of the student council. We planned an event of a maximum 50 attendees. We didn't even expect 50. We were so shocked when over 100 arrived. They patiently lined up. There'd been a ticketing mistake. It was our mistake. The room was only prepped for 50 people, and we were at maximum capacity. That is a dark and stormy night. You should be feeling the anxiety. Oh my gosh, what was it like to be in that line? That's how the person has set up the story. Remember, it's got to be bad, and you're going to make it good. So here's the action. This is you flying in Super Cape here, okay? I noticed right away how important it was for those to show up, who showed up to have a good time. That's why they were there. I didn't want to turn them away because of these limitations. So I quickly grabbed the council members, brought them together, and I suggested a plan. If we could quickly find additional space in the building, we could set up a networking walk around for the people to chat with each other and tell their stories. The presenters could go into the different rooms when they weren't presenting. It allowed a free flow of people. We monitored the rooms. We never went over the size of 50. And I knew the presenters weren't going to mind because they were so happy to have the huge audience. So that's the action. That's me coming in, bringing people together. What am I showing? I'm showing collaboration. I'm showing a specific example. I'm hoping I'm giving you a story where you're visualizing the rooms and that people are free flowing and moving around, trying to add some detail in there. And then I get to the results. Not only was this the best attended event we had to date, we really turned it around. We found a new format. We got the best feedback we ever received. And we increased volunteer leadership by 20% for the next event. Wow. Serious superhero action. Really flew in and made the day. But you're probably saying, Tiffany, you're not talking about customer service and you're not talking about BMO. No, I'm talking about how I interact with people, and I'm now going to tie it in for you. If I was having an interview and somebody had asked me for an example of how I deal with people or how I might deal with customers, I'm going to tie this in and say, I'm good at thinking on my toes. I'm a customer, and I know how it feels to be treated well. It can happen in so many different ways in different situations. And I want to be part of an organization that cares about their customer. And that's how I would tie in a story from the past that maybe isn't exactly customer service, but it's related to dealing with people. It's related to something that I know this organization wants to know about because I've read that job ad so many times. So what is it? If you go back, it's a challenge, a dark and stormy night, an action, something you personally did. It can be in collaborations with others, but you take some responsibility for it because I'm thinking about hiring you. A result, what happened because you came in? And then a tie-in, what's it going to feel like in the future? How does this all make sense for the story? When I worked with classes, I asked them to read a lot of job ads that they were interested in and start thinking about the words that were important to the employers. And I'd have them create 10, 20 different carts. Because once you've created them, they're yours. When you sit in an interview, they magically come to you. You may have noticed that I get animated when I tell a story. You probably get pretty excited about the stuff you have ownership of too. That animation is a great feature when you're talking to an employer and they see your enthusiasm and they see your engagement. So we would write the stories and then go to a variety of different interviews, and the stories would come out here, there, and everywhere for different kinds of answers. It's important to create several so that you basically have a package that you can bring forward and you're not always talking about the same thing. They go a lot better when you take the time in advance to prepare them. So that's a little bit about storytelling in an interview, and it's called a cart. So that's what I've got, Josh, and I'd be happy to take any questions.
Awesome. I loved that presentation. At the moment, we don't seem to have any questions coming in. Can you hear me okay, Tiffany?
I can hear you a little warbly, but I can
A little warbly? Okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
We don't have any questions, but if we do, maybe we can answer them offline.
Okay, so no questions.
No questions. So thank you so much, Tiffany.
Well, thank you all for spending time with me. I always love talking about this stuff because I watched people who thought they didn't have it just get it and go for it. And there were so many different kinds of experiences that worked. So I hope it works for you. Thanks, Josh.
I loved it. That was amazing. Thanks, Tiffany.
Right.
All right, everybody. So we're going to take another quick break, and then we're going to be back for our final workshop, which is Grow Your Network. Okay, so we'll be back in just a minute. Don't go anywhere. All righty, everybody, welcome back. So we are going to go to our final workshop of the day, which is Grow Your Network. And thankfully, Mary Edward has come back to help us with this one since our original presenter was having a little bit of technical issues, but that is okay. So hello, Mary. Thank you so much for doing this. We really appreciate it. And I will now turn it over to you.
Hello, Josh. And again, it's me again, guys. Hopefully it's not too much to see me 2 times today. So apologies that I might be needing to look at 2 screens here, but I will do my best to get you all the useful information about how we can grow our network. You know, growing our network is a kind of a very, very essential part of landing to a great job. So we will talk today about on how we can set our goals, then how we can build our network, then third, how we can maintain this network. So the first one, Josh, if we could please go to the next slide. Perfect. So setting goals, basically it is what is it that I am good for? How this will connect me to the right job based on my skills, referring to what we have mentioned before on skills. So what is it that I am known for to be good at? Is it that I can speak well with people? So maybe I can concentrate to orient myself to looking for a customer service role. How do I know what I am known for? Actually, ask one of your friends, like a family member, or someone who's a mentor within your community, like a grandfather or a grandmother that know you really well. I think it will help you a lot to know exactly what you're good at and what are maybe some of the other areas that you need to work on. So how can I grow these type of skills? So once actually we know what we are good at, then we put that on a side, and maybe there is a couple of 2 skills that like resilience or computer literacy that we need to work on. Let us see some courses. Let us try to develop and kind of browse other channels that can help us get there. So, and by the way, and I have to be frank with all of you, no one is perfect in everything. So guess what? I have weaknesses, everyone have weaknesses. So it's totally fine that we know what we are good at and what we need to improve on. Now, how we can build our network. Can we go to the next slide, please, Josh? Okay. How we can build our network. I will tell you a secret, and frankly, and this is based on personal experience. Just don't be shy to talk about yourself and to say to other people that actually you are looking for a new job. People will not be able to help you unless they know that this is what you are looking for. So we'll start from the smaller circle. It's basically your personal circle. So your family, your friends, your even past schoolmates, pick up the phone, talk to them, or go to their place, wherever they are hanging, and tell them, guys, I'm looking for a job in a customer service. Do you know any organization that is hiring? Or even some of them might be working, or guess what, some of them might know someone else who not necessarily you will know, but they would be happy to connect you. Honestly, you will be surprised of the results of just being out there and making everyone know that you are looking for a job. Also, as well, you can consider being a part of the networking communities, like within your community or even through the online social media tools. There is a number of them, and the most famous for social networking place is definitely LinkedIn. We can host a total different session on how we can browse LinkedIn and how we can leverage all the tools for networking, and how LinkedIn is such a perfect tool to connect people online and introduce people to each other. Another one as well, you might know of any coaches or mentors, even within your community, or even if you ask any of your friends. Basically, just be out there, Don't be shy. Go and say, you know what, I'm looking for a job. How you think you can help me? And honestly, it comes back. So based on my personal experience, I have to say, maybe some people, they don't know, the job I got here in BMO, I was a referral, and I'm so grateful to this referral who connected me to have the opportunity for the interview. And I'm now from my place more than happy to help anyone else who's looking for a job, and hopefully I can connect people together. So it's like karma, it goes around. So you start and you help someone, and I'm sure it will come back to you. Perfect. Josh, can we go to the next slide, please? Now, hopefully we were able to have some tips on how we build our network. And you have your network, and you reach to someone from this network because they work in a company, and you've applied for a job, and you waited maybe 1 week and you didn't hear back. What can you do? So there are a number of things that actually you can do. Sending a follow-up note showing that, hi, I'm very, very keen about this role. I hope the interview went well, and I'm very keen to receive any feedback you might have. This shows that you are someone who's persistent, who's really keen about the role, and kind of separate you from other people, maybe who did not follow up. So it will really give a good impression about you and how you are keen to find the job. What else as well we could be doing? I'm just trying to read the notes very quickly. As well, maybe as well, like if it's possible, you could go for a coffee with someone who you had an interview before with, or a meeting. But just to conclude everything, it's the secret to this growing the networking part is just don't be shy, be out there, tell other people that you're looking for a job. It will lend you potentially to a great opportunity. Then by this time, you will be in a position to help other people to get as well jobs and maintaining your network. I hope I really gave the subject, did it justice in such short time. Thank you so much, Josh.
Well, I appreciate you jumping in and filling in for Jennifer at the last minute. So thank you so much for doing that, Mary. We don't have any questions, but I think you knocked it out of the ballpark. So thank you. I appreciate you diving in and pinch hitting. It was great.
Thanks so.
Okay, thanks, Mary. All right, well, that is bringing us to the end of our time today. And so I'm actually going to bring Kelly Hashimi back. Hi, Kelly. And she is going to close us out with a traditional closing. So Kelly, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Hi, everyone. We did open our circle and our event in a good way. We had a beautiful time smudging in this virtual space. And through this past hour and a half, we've had some really good connections made, some really, exciting times. And yes, we struggled a bit here and there with connections or power outages, and that's okay because we can still connect in another way, and that's through phone calls. So all that will be arranged. Don't have any stress and don't worry. Just know that this day was very unique and special, and you were a part of it. So I'd like everybody to leave this virtual space, this circle that we've created across the country, which is so beautiful. We're going to close it now, and we're going to go, and we're going to continue with our walk. And hopefully we'll hear some good follow-ups through the chat when you guys text us. That's wonderful. We love to keep in touch and to hear how things are going. So keep connecting, and miigwech for being here. Bama P, everyone. We'll see you again soon. Miigwech.
Thank you so much, Kelly, for participating today. And we've had some heavy snowfall around Canada today, and So that's power right before we did this. So I can understand and appreciate what has gone on today. I appreciate everybody's patience and their persistence and getting through to their interviews. This has been a really special 90 minutes for us, and we hope it's just merely the beginning of a lot more of these sorts of exciting events where we're able to bring Indigenous job seekers together to meet with recruiters at remarkable organizations like BMO, Bank of Montreal. So for those of you who want to do any more follow-up or check in with BMO, you can do that. So where I'm going to point you to now is the careers page for BMO. So if you go to https://jobs.bmo.com or jobs.bmo.com/indigenous or jobs.bmo.com/search results keywords Indigenous, you will be led to the Indigenous focused postings that we have online with BMO, the Bank of Montreal. We are going to continue with the interviews. We technically have about 1 minute left, but I know that there are still people in their queues waiting for their interview to happen. Ideally, if the recruiters are staying online for a little bit longer, we'll be able to finish up those interviews within the next 30 minutes. I just took a quick look and I see that we were able to do so far around 100 interviews, which is fantastic, and we've got more in the queue. So hopefully we'll be able to wrap those up. I thank everybody for joining us today. I thank everybody for taking that big step to apply to be a part of this wonderful event that we've done. I want to thank BMO, the Bank of Montreal, for working with us on this. I want to thank my team at Our Children's Medicine, and I really want to wish everybody the best of luck and best wishes and happy holidays. And we, of course, will be connecting with you all very soon. Take good care, everybody.